So in the editorial of VIDEOFORMES, we recalled that we need more than ever to increase reality. And augmented reality is one of the topics of the day. So we are not just talking about technology. I think that looking for another reality, wanting to reach a sort of ecstatic state, is not unique to the VR or AR or mixed reality. I think that at this moment, the easiest thing is to open a book, and I think, or we think about Madeleine de Proust, for example. So this idea is also present in temples, in religious buildings, circuses, arenas, theaters, and cinema. I'm thinking about the work of John Sanborn, for example, The Friend, which is exhibits in VIDEOFORMES this year. So it is also the experience of creative people, artists, but also scientists who perform something. The idea is that we are somewhere else and they are someone else. So just before we start, I have a technical recommendation. I asked to our followers to think carefully about unplugging the microphones, thanks. And today, so we continue with focus number 2. It's a Menos Parkas selection from Lithuania. And Tessa, if you want to introduce Arvydas. Thank you.
Hi everyone. Né en Lituanie, Arvydas Zalpys est diplômé de l'école d'art de Kaunas.
So he's done several expositions in Europe and has participated in 150 exhibitions throughout the world. He is the founder and the president of Menos Parkas, a art gallery that promotes young contemporary artists. So since 2008, he's also organizing the International Kaunas in Art Festival, which is a contemporary art festival, and the town will be the European Cultural City in 2002.
It's time for presentation of 10 minutes of a curator. It's okay?
Let me shortly introduce Menos Parkas Gallery, which main location is in a town hall square at the very heart of the old town of Kaunas, the second largest city in Lithuania. Menos Parkas Gallery was founded by the Kaunas Department of Lithuanian Artists Association in 1997, and a second location in Düsseldorf, Germany, was opened very recently in 2018. Over the years, Menos Parkas became one of the strongest contemporary art galleries throughout Lithuania, the main aim of which is to represent professional Lithuanian and foreign contemporary artists in Lithuania and abroad, to boost creations of young artists, involve them in contemporary art projects as much as possible. Our goal is to be a gallery with an active and productive contemporary art movement, experiment, and be the place open to both young and already well-established creators. Thus, to remain a solid organization representing the most talented Lithuanian artists at the international level. The 3-story gallery's building covers an area of more than 500 square meters, 300 of which are dedicated to the exhibition halls. There are 3 exhibition spaces in total, 1 on each floor. This allows us to either present 3 smaller projects at once or use all of these spaces for one larger project. Different sizes, different configurations of the halls enable us to adapt the most suitable space for each exhibition. On the ground floor, in addition to the exhibition hall, there is an educational space where galleries visitors can use library of collected art publications, catalogs, read journals, articles, look throughout gallery's videography on a TV screen, purchase souvenirs, artworks, or receive the consultation they need. Gallery's activities focus mainly on variety of visual arts, while the annual program consists of numerous international exhibitions, projects, and events organized in Lithuania and abroad. The formation of annual program has its own established principles. About 30% of it consists of projects and exhibitions by the members of Lithuanian Artists Association. This part of the program has to be approved by the selection committee, and the association itself allocates most of the funds for its implementation. The remaining 70% of the program consists of projects prepared by galleries curators, about 30% of which is dedicated to the presentation of works by foreign artists and partners, and the rest to the dissemination of Lithuanian contemporary artists' creation. The main galleries projects are the International Cultural Exchange Project Artline, that focuses on the representation of Lithuanian artists' works abroad and the increasing introduction of foreign contemporary artists in Lithuania. Project started in 1999. During more than 20 years, gallery established close collaborative relationships with various art institutions in Germany, Poland, France, Estonia, Spain, Italy, the UK, Latvia, and others. The second project, titled The Young, Green Consciousness, was exclusively created for young artists to represent their works. Having already become international, the project is characterized by the fact that it gives a lot of initiative to the young curators and artists. Another important project is biannual contemporary art festival Kaunas in Art, launched in 2008 and acknowledged as one of the most important continuous art events in Lithuania. This particular project allowed to expand international audience the most, to combine artworks of both famous and young artists in one event. The geography of the festival participants stretches across multiple countries, such as Cambodia, South Africa, Madagascar, Japan, USA, Israel, Taiwan, Australia, and of course, many European countries. Due to the large-scale projects in recent years, in preparation for the European Capital of Culture in 2022, the festival has been temporarily postponed. One more important activity of the gallery is participation in contemporary art fairs. Although it requires a lot of energy, hard work, and funds, it is still a significant part of galleries' activities. The size of the audience, varying between 10 to 30,000 at the art fairs, allows wide dissemination of our artists' works. Of course, a commercial success is also an important factor for both gallery and the artist. Participation in contemporary art fairs has gained us a lot of attention and recognition internationally. The first art fair that we participated at was Arte Fiera Bologna in 2007, followed by the Art London from 2014 till 2016. In 2014, we also took part in the photography and video art fair in Singapore. Since 2015, we are participating at the Positions Berlin. Since 2018 at Art Karlsruhe in Germany, and in 2017 and 2018 we took part at Volta, New York, while in 2019 and 2020 we participated at Artissima in Italy. Based on international galleries practice, Parkas has brought together a group of artists, and the presentation of their creation is under separate consideration. Today, the circle of galleries artists is composed of 24 young and established Lithuanian creators, and now they have become important figures in contemporary art scene, and not just in Lithuania. Some of them have been living and successfully working abroad for many years. Speaking of the content of our annual program, we make an effort to present a wide range of media. Although painting is still dominant in Lithuania and in Parkas project as well, we are paying a great deal of attention to the interdisciplinary arts, such as performance, photography, installation, video art. Partnership with other cultural institutions are very important to Parkas gallery. Opportunities for cooperation between projects, spaces, and represented artists. Despite the fact that the exhibition area of Parkas is not that small, for larger projects we usually cooperate with our partners National Čiurlionis Museum. We also pay a lot of attention to the dissemination of galleries' activities. In 1997-1999, Parkas was one of the first Lithuanian galleries to start publishing small catalogs presenting individual artists. Moreover, we are continuing publishing artist and exhibition catalogs to this day. A special attention is paid to promote gallery internationally using an online space and resources. For a few years, you can find information about us, our project, artists, and available works to purchase on Artsy, one of the world's largest art platforms. Also, since the last year, we started cooperating with the Artland platform. Here, in addition of our information, you can find a 3D virtual tours of our recent exhibition. Of course, you can find updates, most recent news, interesting articles, and a lot more on our social media channels, such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. The year of 2020 required everyone to search for new forms to introduce their activities. This is how another project was born, Parkas Video, MPV. Trending interviews with artists, exhibition and project videos, special collections and archives capturing galleries' activity, and Kaunas cultural atmosphere dating back to 1997 are presented here. All videos can be found on our Vimeo and YouTube channels. Well, in the end, I think we need to talk about the other important topic, gallery staff. I also want to mention that usually there are 5 to 7 people working at a gallery, and of course, that's just not enough. However, the situation in the art field in Lithuania, the situation of the art market, and many other important circumstances do not allow to form a budget that would let expand our team to 9 or 10 people, which would be ideal for the scope of the existing program. Well, I think that is all I wanted to say, maybe just to invite you all to visit Parkas gallery here in Kaunas or Düsseldorf. Thank you very much.
Okay, so thank you to Arvydas Zalpys and the Gallery Menos Parkas. So now I think it's the time for Skype event with Arvydas. Okay, I feel like a dinosaur with this with this song.
Hi.
Hello, Arvydas.
Yeah.
Okay. Hello, you can hear me?
Yes, very well.
Okay, great. It's Elise. Okay, welcome, Arvydas. So, thank you very much to the Menos Parkas Gallery. So, you, Arvydas Zalpys, and your team. We are particularly pleased because Kaunas will be the European capital of culture in 20.
Yeah.
Okay. Just recommendation, technical recommendation. Can you open your cam, or I can say switch on your cam?
Yes. I opened. I think
Okay.
it works or not. Yeah. Can you see me?
I don't know. Wait a minute. Oh, right. Okay. You're on the screen. It's good.
Well.
Okay.
Yeah, fine.
Okay, so I continue. So I was saying that we were particularly pleased because Kaunas will be the European capital of culture in 2022. As Mons and our Belgian friends of Transculture yesterday had been in 2015, and as Clermont hopes for 2028. So thank you for this selection, and thank you for the presentation. It was great because there are a lot of people on the image of the presentation, a lot of like private views, and it's really great because it's like another world for us. I don't know, how is it in Lithuania?
Okay.
Is it okay?
It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I was watching also. I was watching also a little.
Okay.
Yeah, but I had some to do in the morning, but it's fine.
Okay, good for you. So my first question is, you are a graduate of the Kaunas Art School, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what is the state of the art in Lithuania? I think especially at the academic or associative level. For example, how the artists that you introduced to us today have been formed.
Oh, you know, Lithuania is not a big country, so it's not so difficult to watch all the art scene, you know, to see what's happened and to find the artists. The artists were represented today. Some of them, you know, they start to collaborate with us just in the end of the studies in Art Academy, because in Kaunas is the department of Art Academy, and the students are really very busy with the gallery, you know, and we are in very good contacts, and every year we have the presentations of students' diploma works. So it's really, we know, you know, the young generation, what is coming, and also because the gallery is maybe, is the one of the main point where artists can realize the project. Collaboration with the art world is very close. And you know, our work, the principle of our work is that, we are looking for young artists, and then we are doing for them proposal if they would like to work together with us. And many of these artists, you know, they start like young artists, and since many years they are collaborated. Yeah, but some of them we just found, you know, like Neringa Naujokaitė, you presented the video here today. She also finished studies in Lithuania, in Vilnius, but since many years she lived in Germany, and so we found here Neringa in Germany, and after our collaboration begins. What I can tell else, Anyway, we are working, you know, a lot of internationally, so it's really not difficult to find artists, but for the moment, like gallery artists, we have the Lithuanian artists, and we would like to continue this tradition.
Okay, so if I understand, when you graduate in Lithuania, the next step, for example, is to exhibit in art centers, gallery, festival. What is the environment of culture in Lithuania?
Yeah, of course, it's the normal way, you know. After the studies, everyone wants to find a chance or possibilities to exhibit in museums or in galleries or some in art centers. And as I told, you know, as Lithuania is not a big country, you know, it's not a problem, you know, to follow up all events, what's happened in Kaunas, in Vilnius, or in other cities. And the information you can reach also, it's very easy. So we just are, you know, watching what's happened, and the young artists are not only the young, they're just trying, you know, to get in this event and to present their projects. Of course, the Vilnius is more maybe active, you know, because it's have more spaces where you can realize your projects. There are more galleries and the museums and so. But Kaunas is also quite active, and for example, the main events what we have in Lithuania, they are held in Kaunas, like Kaunas Biennale, like Kaunas International Photo Festival, and some others.
Okay, and so what? Oh, sorry. Okay,
Yeah.
So why was it necessary to create your own gallery?
Why is necessary to own gallery? Oh, it's a good question. Why is necessary? Anyway, we need to share art, you know. We need to share art projects, and we need to share artworks of artists. So I think that who can do it? Just museum or galleries. So it's really necessary. And if we are talking about our gallery, you know, it was opened in 1997. You know, it's just after a few years after independence from the Soviet time. And, you know, the art scene was changing totally. And, you know, artists became very free, you know, in their ideas and in the works what they want to produce. And the problem was, you know, with the spaces. So one of the reasons was to open gallery, and at the beginning was more dedicated to Kaunas artists, just to give for them possibility where they can they can show here projects, artworks, and so. So it's the main thing what is necessary to have gallery or to work the gallery.
Okay, you say that at the end of the 90s, the artistic stage changed. Could you explain more? Why? Which change?
You should understand, you know, that in Soviet time, it's, you know, it wasn't not allowed to create what do you want. Yeah, you can, you know, create art in your studio, but you can't to present official, because it was, you know, some juries every time, and the works should work in political and other things. It means the work should be different, like in West countries, and so it was, you know, the Soviet politic, and I mean that after the 90s, you know, the artists just get a freedom, you know, and with the ideas what they kept a long time in the studios, they just moved out, and really there was the situation, you know, that sometimes the new ideas was too fast, you know, for our audience, for citizens. And so it really was the situation. They were just closed, you know, after 2 days, because it was some kind of cultural shock, you know, for visitors, because it was so much new that it was too much new, you know. Yeah, and after everything is come to normal way, like in the West countries.
Okay, and okay, what is the Kaunas place in this national ecosystem? Because that seems very dynamic. You say that. So, what is the place of Kaunas in Lithuania and in Europe? It's a special place.
It's not so easy to answer. What do you mean special? It's it's normal. It's normal place. The Kaunas is second city, and you know it's very busy with some economic things, and it's very student city. You know, you have a lot of high schools, universities, and it's really it looks like young city. But for the culture, it's also to compare the main events of the culture, what's happened in Lithuania. There are few very important what's happened in Kaunas. You know, the music festival in Pažasis monastery. It's the huge international festival. You know, with the famous musicians from all the world. The contemporary dance festival, what is the main event also in Lithuania. Yeah, like I told, the Kaunas Biennale. Anyway, we have the main museum is National Museum of Čiurlionis in Kaunas. So I mean, it's the Kaunas have a very important role, you know, in the life of Lithuania.
Okay. Now it's my last questions. I would like to talk about Kaunas 2022, but could you tell us more about that? Oh, okay, problem of connection. Okay. It's time off. I don't know. We stop here. Perhaps I can ask my question another time, one after.
Guillaumit is a French artist, illustrator, designer, performance artist, and director of animation films. Known for his visuals, he's done a global events miniseries, which was broadcast in RT TV station. Looks interested in augmented reality, and now he's going to talk about this in the video forms. And now he's going to do his presentation video of Guillaumit.
I started my career with the Gunpowder and Meat project. In fact, in the beginning, I was not an illustrator, I was a video maker. So I made lots of video for lots of different gigs in Asia, Europe, and United States, for example. So we played in lots of places, and I meet new character, new people, and years after years, I developed my own style. Which is very geometric. And after we discovered Pictoplasma, they made DVDs with us 10 years ago. And now I'm more an illustrator and artistic director, and I will show you some of my work. My geometric style is in constant evolution with new forms, new media, and new techniques. For example, here is some two geometric form, and as you can see, my drawing work is more like playing with blocks, playing to Lego. There is 3 steps: first steps, second steps, third steps. First example, this is illustration for a telephonic company in France. It was for phone case. Another picture, it was for Combini website, a big website in France. And this is illustration for Le Monde newspaper, an article talking about the relationship between Twitter and television. And this picture, for finishing, I made it during the lockdown, and I had some fun because I had to make some live to this technological object. It was for Dell technology, and it was for a web video game. I have the chance to put my creation everywhere. For example, this is print I made on tramway for an art festival in Bordeaux. This is an example for a poster in south of Korea for an art festival too. And this is illustration for an anniversary website for La Cité des Sciences in Paris. The request for this work was to create an illustration for every year. Usually I mainly work with Illustrator, but recently I started to work with 3D software. Here is 3 examples of works with 3D. Here is a poster for Pict Electronic, which is a big festival in Luxembourg. Another example, it is a poster for arts for kids, and another poster for Carnival in Bordeaux. Since the beginning of my career, I always worked for every people, kids, adults, and I would like to show you some of my books for kids. This is one of the books, and the last one is Au Bureau. It's fun books. You have lots of things to discover. You can play with flaps. There is lots of surprise and lots of jokes. For the kids too, I had the opportunity to make furniture design for kids at La Gaîté Lyrique Museum in Paris. Here is 4 driving tables: the horse, the bird, the fish, and the snake. In all these 4 drawing tables, you have integrated pencils, papers, and pencil sharpener. Just after the creation of the 4 animals, the 4 furniture table, we had the idea with Jean-Paul to create La Boîte. La Boîte is a collective and hybridal project, which is true and multimedia instrument. We can make music, we can make picture with La Boîte, and I will show you now a small video.
Unité 1. Unité 2.
Three years ago, I had the opportunity to be the artistic director of Carnival in Bordeaux. My first question was how to make an interesting event, an interesting carnival now, with Facebook, Instagram, face tracking, and lots of things like that. So I decided to make an augmented reality carnival. So as you notice, at each public event, we are in front of an incredible amount of fun. So I decided to work with this relation and to use the fun to make interaction between publics and shows. That's why we created an application, our own application we developed by ourselves. It's an augmented application, it's free, it works with old phone, cheap phone and expensive phone too. And so we made masks, posters, costumes with augmented reality for this carnival. Here is some examples. And we made a 3D print mask too. And here is a video for the first year. For this carnival, we worked with Unity software. So we developed augmented reality with this software, and we decided to go in school to teach kids how code, how augmented reality works. We made workshops, lots of workshops with kids, so they can be involved in this project before the carnival. And during the carnival, here is examples of costumes with augmented reality. And there is a video which presents the poster, the carnival poster in augmented reality too. For the second edition of my carnival in 2019, the general atmosphere in France in the street was very tense, with lots of strikes, lots of social problem. So we decided to write a story which is linked with this global atmosphere and the history of the carnival too. So we decided to ask two different illustrators to invent, to draw brigands. And with the application, we had to catch the brigand to help us to kill the king, the nasty king. Here is an example of this exhibition. For the third edition in 2020, we talk for this carnival about climate crisis and sea level rise. The story is very simple. We all live underwater. We are now mutants, fluid and agile. Let's paradise together and party anyway. So we create new characters, mutant characters. Here is these characters. First of all, the second one, and the third one.
Okay, so thank you, Guillaumit. Guillaumit is a French artist, and now it's time to present the work of Francesca Fini, come from Italy.
So Francesca Fini is a intermedia artist who's a performance artist, film director, and works in Italy. She is a woman, an image for doing her training into lots of different media. She questions the art and video and performance. A creator of displays and the trophy of the 36th edition of VIDEOFORMES. She also participates in the festival with an augmented reality project, The Conversation, and now we're going to listen to watch her video.
My name is Francesca Fini, and I'm an Italian artist working with experimental cinema, digital animation, new media, installation, and performance art. I've always explored those lands where art languages hybridize, mix together, creating new objects. In particular, my work for some years has been dedicated to the search for a compromise, which is, of course, both theoretical and practical, between the ephemeral and elusive matter of live arts and the language of video art, which by its nature is documentary because it fixes forever the transitory image on a medium, which is physical or virtual, could be film, could be a digital file. In the years, this video performative research has led me to the creation of hundreds of short films, small movies, and to the production of 3 long feature movies which mix and hybridize performance art, digital animation, costume design, architecture, literature, and video art. I'm always looking for new opportunities in order to challenge my objectives as a broaden, of course, my research. And that is why I always apply for international festivals, residency, especially those dedicated to live arts. I am a contradictory and interdisciplinary person, fatally attracted to the paradox, eternally fighting and never worried about the final results and consequences of my action, my artistic action, of course. But I'm always fascinated by the path, by the meantime by the process. For this reason, I am obsessed with the digital deconstruction and reinterpretation of the concept of the body, the great, incredible, iconic concept of the body, especially, of course, the female body, while trying to maintain its savagery, its animal and organic nature. My live projects, my live performances, and my live shows of new media and live media often address issues related to the relationship between the audience and private spaces, between the show and the people participating in the show, between representation, and interaction. But also these projects reflect on the influences of society on gender and woman issues, the distortion in the perception of beauty produced by the market and by mainstream media. So this is basically what I do, what I'm interested in as an artist. I mentioned the body. The body is a very important element because it's a universal and emotional code that becomes a collective political language. The body is our first and our last device for interacting with the outside world and with other human beings. The body is something that everyone knows, that everyone understands. It's the dictionary of our common fragile nature in this world, as everyone knows. So I use the body as a vector of universal concepts, of shared experience. And of course, this is because the body is within everyone's reach, is understandable to everyone, regardless of your age or gender, and even the culture you come from. Even if this culture denies the body is still a crucial, iconic element. So, in approaching the body, I use many different languages, as you can see from all the video that you're watching right now, from the videos and the works that you probably saw on my website, whatever. I use many different languages, and these languages are somehow responding also to my many interests as an artist. Among these interests, there is also, for example, a great passion for experimental animation, the world of 3D and virtual reality, augmented reality, and of course for the cinema of the real also, documentarism. I would say that I am a concentration of contradiction, as you probably, as I told already, as I said already. Even if in my work I believe that everything responds to the same logic. And this logic is the will, the mission, we could say, to interpret the world and myself with all the means at my disposal. In my 2D and 3D animations, there is always a deeply performative and underground atmosphere. My avatars and my virtual characters, created almost always with the technique of video collage and cutout animation, never perform naturalistic actions. There is never an attempt at realism, but they always move in an abstract dimension. They perform symbolic, poetic actions, framed by a deeply dirty and lo-fi aesthetic. As you can tell in my performances and in my installations, digital culture and digital technology are always present. In almost all my live actions, I use video and also audio, live generated through mechanical, electronic, and interaction design devices. It's like the body is amplified by a landscape of sound and visual suggestions that are produced by movement, by live actions in space and time. The device becomes a sort of prothesis of an increased, amplified, augmented body. The basic concept is always the same, however, and it is profoundly analogical. It's the search for identity, virtual or real identity, of course, and the illusion of control that characterizes our species. Explore with a certain dose of irony, I would say. Watching these videos all together and looking back over the long history of my work, I can feel that there is a progressive simplification and at the same time radicalization in the aesthetics of my work. You know, like when you are studying a new language, it takes a lot of practice and time to penetrate its inner logic. And now I feel that I'm began to master my own language, to finally understand its guidelines. And so I'm now able to be more direct, you know, strong and effective. I began to remove matter from my work in an attempt to reveal the essence, the bones, the shining bones under the surface. And I really do not know where this ongoing process will bring my research. It's very similar to a Zen practice, and I hope I can bring even a bit of lighting.
Okay.
So it's okay?
Okay, it's okay, perfect. The connection seems to be great. Thank you. So we are going to start the panel discussions, titled Playground. I like the French word, terrain de jeu. So I am with the two artists, so Guillaumit and Francesca, and Arvydas on Skype Media. Okay. Finally this morning the discussion is in two languages, so French and English. So just a little precision for the English speakers. If you want to have a translation, you have to go to the YouTube channel, because Guillaumit is going to speak in French. Okay? So the title, Playground, is a term that we liked in video form. It seems to us, I mean Garance, Tessa and I, that this is related to your very colorful universe of you two artists. We're going to see that on the video. It feels like you've decided to push the wall of your child bedroom, and we like that. So you play, both of you, with augmented reality, like perhaps you say marbles. C'est les billes pour les Français, jeux de billes, so marbles. Alors I say marbles, but Guillaumit, you are perhaps more like Lego 4.0, okay? Because your universe is absurd and fanciful, family-friendly. We're gonna see the installation with the box was great for children and grandchildren. You did a lot of things about carnival, save carnival, and brigand. So I like this universe of childhood. But this universe can be cruel too, so you can explain that. It's colorful and cruel, okay? Some called you someone who has big hair to hide all your brain. So I like this description. I don't know if you agree with that, but I like that. And so we have the harlequinist side of Francesca Fini, because you're the woman on the poster of VIDEOFORMES 2021. I don't know if you agree with us. Are you a harlequinesque woman? It's a good harlequinesque. You know, it's a good term to define what you are, your character, or not. Yes? Okay, it's okay. So you say a lot of things during your videos. So my first question, perhaps, I turn to Arvydas. We talk about playground. I would like to know what is a playground for Lithuanian artists. Can you explain if you have themes very dear to you? We see some video with nature or architectures. And on the video of presentation, there's some piece of installation that I could say attract my curiosity. So perhaps you can say more about this strange orange worm, for example, or people with brooms, or I don't know. What is a playground in Lithuania?
It's different. It's not only, you know, the one or I can say the more popular. So it depends, you know, on the artist, but I think it's anyway. The more we have, you know, this conceptual ideas, and maybe it's not so useful, the animation is still yet. So it's just, you know, filming, you know, with some stories or events or the history, what artists want to say, but it's more like, you know, the natural view of what you see around. As I was watching all the videos for competition, I saw that it's very, very often the artists like to use, you know, some animations and so, and maybe it's not this direction what are following our artists.
Okay. For example, we show on the video of a presentation, there's a lot of piece in outside. It's
yeah.
It's
the nature outside, the you know, the life and what's happened around, and usually, or you can find also a lot of videos, you know, with some interviews, you know, on different terms, on political, on the life terms, and so. But but it's all what you see in the nature, you know, all what you see around us. This is the more,
Okay.
Or some expression of artist, you know, but if he is doing some, you know, his expressions of his ideas, but it's also he's using the camera or he's filming himself, you know, but I like I told, not animation. Just everything what is true around you, you know.
Okay. So I say to Francesca and Guillaumit that you talk a lot about your work, but perhaps you want to add something about this idea of playground. Perhaps, I don't know, perhaps Francesca, you talk about body, female body especially, or augmented body. Perhaps you want to say something about these ideas of a playground, about body or on technology.
Yes, well, of course that... Oh, I'm sorry. Hello? I'm very sorry. First of all, it's, I mean, the work of the artist is a playground generally, because you have a lot of time, you are by yourself, you don't have really anyone dictating you and telling you what is good or what is bad. So you're really like a child should be in his own playground, experiencing and experimenting reality for the first time, with a complete blank
no prejudicial way of seeing and judging reality. So the artist should be like that, and generally is like that. So to do art is to be in your own playground, and sometimes this could be really a lonely experience, but very rewarding all the time. And you don't have parameters, you don't have directions, you just have your own world to manipulate and to build. So it's really is a playground. For me, it's for a little bit more of a playground because I work with technology, and technology is very playful. Technology is something that really augments your capacity of influencing and changing and manipulating reality, and give a little bit of superpower to your body. So it's really something that I like to do, and I feel really like a little child sometimes, with a lot of enthusiasm when I find a new device, when I find a new software, when I find a new application. And I'm always looking for these things. My house that is full of pieces of garbage of technology that I generally, for example, leave sometimes in a place, then I take it back and I put in another project. So it's like a little, I don't know, laboratory of very strange things in my studio. And so really, the playground is really like the condition of the artist, I think. And when people working with technology give a little bit more meaning to this, because you really are working with the machine, you know. And so it's the man and the machine, which is the first conflict in Western culture, from the Greek theater on. It's all a playground of art and culture.
Okay, so Francesca, you talk about artistic action like sometimes a loneliness experiment.
Yeah.
And you, Guillaumit, I think that you interesting to interact with the viewer actors. Could you explain more about this interaction with the public?
Oui, alors donc
playground is something, it's a notion which I've always interested me. When I started my career, my work as an illustrator, I also compared the drawing to the creation of elements in Lego. So it's true, I work a lot with geometric simple blocks. I compose my images by association, by building them, by already the games and the composition of the images, but in the production of them, of real playgrounds. As you saw in my presentation before, I've got several facets. I'm artist, designer, illustrator, so it happens to me 2-3 times to do true sculptures, which you can play with, playable sculptures. And so it's a real pleasure to be able to see these drawings, these composed images, to be used, to be able to see adults and children to slide in them. So it's really an extension of the fun I could have by drawing and designing these objects. I did a type of a large dragon, wooden dragon, in a park in the north of France, and it's a project which has lasted, taken a long time to design. It took 1 year to be able to design it. At the end, for 15 days, we assembled the project with the help of associations. We see people going to picnic on it, play on it. It's this type of thing which I really like to produce. As for regarding new technologies or the digital, so with regard to my carnival, we decided to use this situation, everybody with their smartphone all the time, to be able to try to do augmented reality for the costumes and the posters, have a bit more interaction, and to go beyond just simply taking photos. As you said earlier on, I've got a work which is quite fun-based, all public. So But there's always, behind my proposals, I try to inject meaning, but also criticism every now and again, and maybe a darker part. So when I'm talking about augmented reality, when I'm talking about the Instagram filters, I'm talking about facial recognition to be passivity regarding the screen. So there's a reflection about this. And I also, it's important to me, when I develop an augmented reality project in a town, we're going to look at all the schools, we're going to see how it works, we're going to give access to children to how to do computer programming, computer coding. And so I refuse in a way to be this passive element in terms of the Instagram putting dog ears is great, but what's important to see how it works and give the possibility to everybody to be able to do it.
For example, the box, it's this idea, we can see children that draw on a sort of table.
Oui, alors ça c'était un autre projet.
So that was another project which is a bit older. We did this in duo with Gang Paul, the Guillaumit. So this was the following from the drawing tables, which I did first of all, and just simply the drawing tables, which are interactive drawing tables, because everybody can draw on them. And the second step was the boîte, the box, so the musical instruments which are accessible to everybody. And so you could got the buttons to switch. The 4 steps, we couldn't see the whole video. There's 4 steps. There's one part when the children can draw, and each time they trace something on the pencil that generates a sound, and then afterwards is like a creation of a cartoon of which a circular part, and then afterwards there was a camera recognition or a type of sampler of musical creation with tokens. And also here, this is talking about the factory, we're talking about the automated creation, and so there's an underlying creation. I'm talking in the past because this project no longer exists, but this worked really well in France and abroad, and so we are proud of.
I don't know if you have some questions to the audience from the chat or not. Or Gabriel, yes, if you want to ask questions. Okay. So I precise to the audience that I've forgotten to recall, but you can ask questions or just share ideas or sensitivity or something. Don't hesitate. So Gabriel, it's up to you. It doesn't work.
First, I would like to say hello to Arvydas and thank him for participating. We're talking about playgrounds and games, and at the same time we're going through a pandemic. And I was thinking while listening to Arvydas about Lithuania, a very small country, which is at the origin of a very important artistic movement, Fluxus, who created many artists and also a president for Lithuania, I think, also. Can you hear me, Arvydas? I don't think he's listening to me. It's a pity. I wanted to know the relationship to this heritage in Lithuania and also the connection with a republic which was made by artists in Vilnius, the Republic of Zalpys. I don't know if he... Arvydas? Too bad. Arvydas, did you hear my question?
Okay, the sound is...
Hello?
Okay,
oh,
great.
Arvydas is back. Arvydas, did you hear my question?
No, may you... No, excuse me, maybe you tell one more time.
So I must say it again. Okay, Arvydas, this is Gabriel speaking to you. My question, do you hear me? No. Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. My question is, what is the heritage for the artists of today in Lithuania with Fluxus, which started in Lithuania more than 60 years ago, 70 years ago? Is there heritage, a connection? And I remind the people who don't know Fluxus that Fluxus was a reaction to World War II, like the Dadaist was for World War I. And the motto of the Fluxus is art is life. And today, I think art is life too, more than ever. Oh, I think there's a bad connection. We depending too much.
Do you mean the Gabriel? Do you mean the video art, or you are talking about the art in general?
Art in general. What is the connection between this Fluxus heritage, which started there, and you have many very interesting artists. One of them became a president of your country at some point. This is very interesting that an artist becomes a president.
Okay, thank you for the question. Just Arvydas, if you can switch off your cam finally, because it will be better for technicians.
Yes.
And the sound will be better.
Yeah.
And then you can answer to Gabriel.
It's okay now? Yeah. It's okay now?
No, we have your image, so if you can switch off, it's okay?
Okay. If you switch, okay. Don't do anything.
Okay, okay.
Just answer.
You can speak and answer to Gabriel.
Well, yes, of course, they have connection, you know. It's sure. And like with the Fluxus or so, of course it is, because the Fluxus is quite important in our culture or in the art development till this time. And for many artists, it was, you know, the big influence, like also if we are talking about other forms or other sorts of art, for example, the painting, and I can say that the big influence was the French painting school, and not only the Fluxus, what is more close to Lithuania, and yes, the artists, they are looking to the heritage, you know, what was, but I mean, there is the background, of course, of this.
Okay, it's okay. Perhaps I would like to bounce back on this question of Gabriel, because finally the current problem is that the artist's playground is life. But now, with the lockdown, in certain circumstances, artist is, say, deprived of his favorite game. Because you talk about the connection between art and life, but today it's complicated. How do you try to resolve this problem of life, art, and lockdown? I don't know, Francesca, if you want to talk.
She does it well, I think. Well, the beginning, very beginning of the lockdown in Italy, which was very early, of course, you know, and it was in March, starting from March, I just decided to turn this lockdown into, of course, art practice. So I, you know, I worked on many projects linked to this new condition, which was very strange, of course. One of them was this sconfinamento, as you saw some images at the end of my reel, when I just created a sort of software tracking in movements of people, of the few people that were allowed to, you know, go outside. And so this I hacked somehow a webcam, a tourist webcam, framing Campo dei Fiori and other important piazzas in Rome. And then I just was tracking people all the time, and I grabbed this footage and I turned into a sort of live cinema and generative sound performance. So I start broadcasting every day on Facebook. This footage, this live real-time footage coming from this tourist webcam, going inside my computer and enrich with all this live media tracking, graphical and sound. So the movement of the people create this graphical tracking and also sound. And you could tell from their the idea was to try to find somehow a geometry in their movement, and there was a geometry because there was the idea of keep distance one from each other. So you could see this kind of very strange choreography between people trying not to be very near, in a sort of constant triangulation of people, cars, and even birds. So it creates this kind of geometry. And also the movement of people was very strange and different. They were like, you know, very fast and trying not to, you know, like not to be very still in some places. So it was a very different way of moving in the architecture, in the city, in the space. So that was one of the projects. And then another one was I created a virtual exhibition, a video art virtual exhibition with other two video artists, Francesca Lolli and Francesca Leoni. So we name it, my name is Francesca because we share this name, we share the age, and we share the practice. So it was a virtual exhibition of our three female video artists and performance artists. And we created this kind of guided, this guided exhibition on the web. So I created a special website with a special platform that worked as a virtual exhibition with very innovative things inside. And so this was another project. And then after, when in the second lockdown, I just decided to leave the country and just to go somewhere where I feel a little bit more free, because I couldn't really go on with this kind of, you know, like lack of freedom. That's all, my practice.
Yeah. Guillaumit, your point of view about that?
So for me, it's true that I'm trying to think and not to say anything, you know, just stand at what everybody says about the situation. I'm not very comfortable with the this situation. Makes me feel very uncomfortable and complaining about it. For me, it's a really important moment to reflect about our position, our place. I'm not the first person to say we're essential, etc., etc. But I really asked myself some questions. What's my purpose? And so this was quite depressing. And the moment of joy I had was when the lockdown was finished. With a friend, we saw our children go back to school, and the teachers were completely panicked, and we could see they started to install with panels with forbidden to go here, access, etc. And I said, here as a designer, I could do something. And I proposed in 2 or 3 days. I worked on a kit of A3 sheet of papers, very simple, with characters which I thought were friendly characters. And so we've got a free downloadable access kit, which was quite well in Bordeaux and then in other cities in France. Amongst this panic and this lack of means for the schools to be able to, especially for the young school children, I said, here at least I've tried to do something inside with my profession, which is useful to give them how to display instructions at schools. I think it's not a situation which inspired me very much for creations, and I'm trying to maintain my work. And I was confronted with the idea of creation in a public space. This is really what I'm going to try to explore the next years, whether it's paintings on the ground. This is something I'm doing more and more, and this is something I'm going to do this summer. So transform the road into a playground, for example. As you said at the beginning, trying to put pavements or sidewalks more magical, do frescoes on the walls. You don't need an exhibition space for this. So this is what I've been thinking about and where I'm probably heading towards.
Designer during this period, because I remember when at the beginning I visit a sort of supermarket, a small supermarket, and you have a lot of forbidden way everywhere. It was like a crazy world. We say when we can walk or not. So I think you have a lot of future perspective for you on the design work.
Lots of things to do. Et quand j'ai vu l'exemple
when I saw the example of the schools, you've got to put yourself in the position of the teachers who are panicked. On the toilets, they would stick forbidden warning, green when you're allowed to go there. So it was completely crazy. So I said, no, I can help here.
Image of a green forbidden icon or something like that. And so it's,
Can
yeah,
I say something?
Francesca.
Which are already old, because at the beginning I saw that everybody was respecting these, space holders, when you have to stay there with a symbol of the shoes, that you have to be there. Now nobody, so they are already like archaeology. There's these stickers all around. It look like nobody respect them anymore, because just.
No, because it changed. In the beginning, it was 1 meter. Now it's 2 meter. Yeah. So it's initiable.
Okay, perhaps Arvydas, you want to say something about this interconnection with art, life, and lockdown?
I think that I can say nothing, the new or something different. It's the experiments, what colleagues have is the same, what the same experiments have our artists. There is no different. It's happened, in Italy, in France, or in Lithuania. It's the rules everywhere is the same, and possibilities to work for the artists is the same, Maybe in the last year, in the spring, when it was huge lockdown in Italy, there was a bit more free and not so difficult for the artists, but later it came and everything was the same. So it's really, I can't to say that we are in this situation that our artists are very different from your situation. No, everything is the same, but just one, I think that I don't know if many of our artists, they were working on the lockdown team. But what we had, it was some kind like new movement that in social medias, the artists start to present, here works and the new ideas, and for example, the shows in the medias, in the social medias, with the presentations, with the discussions, with the interviews, and so. And yeah, but anyway, I think it's happened, everywhere. The life was quite active, and the artists, they tried, to be not locked somewhere. But in one hand, I can say that maybe during the lockdown, many artists, they were more visible, like in the normal days of our life. Many of them, they just, discovered these good possibilities by social medias, and I mean all of them, not only the Facebook, but Vimeo and some others. For example, we also have some projects, what we just were doing, direct translations, through the Vimeo or through the YouTube or so, and the gallery was closed, but the performance artist was coming. He can do the performance, and just we were doing the translations. Yeah, but in general, it's, it's really very, very similar, like in your countries.
Perhaps I'd like to talk now about the augmented reality and the use of technology. And because you present Guillaumit and Francesca is it a first piece of augmented reality or not? Not for Guillaumit, it's not the first time that you use augmented reality? You used to do that?
Oui, moi ça fait.
Oh, I've been doing for 4 years. I've been working in augmented reality. I began for the Carnival, the first edition. And
first tape in augmented reality?
This piece, it's. I've been working since with augmented reality for I think 2 years. Now this is not the first piece of augmented reality. No, But it's recent. My interest in augmented reality is pretty recent.
Did you express why this recent interest to augmented reality? What for? What is the goal?
Well, I think it's a natural evolution of my work. In my work, especially in my live media work, actually in my intermedia, and intermedia is actually a fluxus expression, you know, and it represents what I do. In my work, especially in the live media, in the intermedia performance art, where I work with my body and technology, I'm already an augmented reality object, because I create sound and visuals that actually overlap my image through projections, video mapping and stuff like that. So, and are generative and generally interactive. So somehow it's a kind of evolution of what I do, on what I used to do, of what I did all my life. With new technologies, just a new tool that I can use to experiment with a different way of doing. The concept is basically the same, which is to amplify and augment your body, and especially to create a new layer of meaning, of information over reality. The reality in my performative work is a placeholder of something else. And in augmented reality, reality is a placeholder of new information that overlaps and give different meanings and enrich the information that you have from material objects. So somehow it's more or less an evolution of what I used to do with more analogical devices.
Yes, because you use a lot of technique of collage. So finally, it's a sort of augmented collage with augmented reality. So I understand. And Guillaumit, what for? Why do you use augmented reality? We watched the Carnival editions. You talk about intermedia. It's also a mix between physical mask and augmented reality, and the relation between these two things is very important to you.
So, from the basis, when I proposed to be the artistic director of the Carnival for 3 years, the question I asked myself was, what does it mean? What does it mean to do a carnival at the moment? This period of time, we see that the masks, it's for the smartphone is the real mask. So, can we try to inject to new technologies in the carnival, all by remaining very popular and festive and fun? It's all this type of work we tried to do, and so that it was a real challenge. We tried to augment the carnival, and the idea we're transforming it into a festival. We could invite artists, digital or not, from different towns, different countries. We managed to get different funding because it was new, because we were trying something, we were experimenting on things, and we tried to adapt it with trials and tests, with successes. We had 3 years to do this. The first year, there was a surprise effect. Wow, augmented reality in 2017 was quite recent, quite new, at least in Bordeaux, where I live. And then, the displays are augmented reality, but also the costumes. In the second year, it was much easier. In the third year, finally, it was succeeded. It was very smooth. We went to do other things with experiments on buttons, on certain costumes, or on certain tanks, this type of thing. That's how we did it. Now, recently, the next step, which I've succeeded in doing, is for the work which I'm presenting in Clermont-Ferrand and in Château-Guyon. This is try to be able to have a video game. So obviously to have a smartphone and see something which appears in volume, there's a surprise effect. But here's the idea, is we can spend more time, come back, test it, and play like a PlayStation, and be able to share the results with people next to you, etc. So we're trying to change things, the way of playability modes.
Perhaps a question to Arvydas. You said that the Lithuanian playground is more reality than technology. So what is the relationship with technology and contemporary Lithuanian art?
Yeah, but you know, I can't agree that technology is not important, you know, for our video artists. It's very important, and because you know, without the technology, you will not have quality what you will to have, and I mean this is very important. But yeah, but in more our artists are still there using, you know, the reality, what's happened around, and all ideas what they want to realize is more conceptual or actual ideas what's happened in the life. Yeah, they are using not, you know, not technology things to express this, but just, you know, to filming direct the nature and peoples and what's happened around. But in general, you know, in the art, and especially in the past times, here we have a lot of artists who are using, you know, this new technologies, 3D and some others, and are created, you know, new projects, new shows. What everything is based only, you know, this on these new technologies. So it's each of them, you know, they're just trying to find the way what it's the best for himself. But I come to say that technologies are somewhere on the corner, you know, for all artists. No, it is not, and it's different. Yeah, like for printing, you know, for example, in Lithuania, you know, it's the textile art, you know, it's in very high level. I mean, the contemporary textile, you know, and the biennales, what started the Kaunas biennales, you know, with the more famous artists, textile artists from the world who were invited to Kaunas, you know, and usually when you are talking about the textile, you have imagination very, you know, oh, it's textile, someone sitting, but like Kaunas is, I think that if you took our countries around Poland, Estonia, Latvia, or some others, you know, just only Lithuanian, you can find the new, you know, new technologies for to doing the textile pieces, for the printing and so on, and many artists from other countries, they are coming, you know, to Kaunas to realize these ideas. So it means that technologies are coming, yeah, but maybe it's in video art, it's a bit different view of artists. But technologies for to have quality, they are really using everybody of them.
Okay, so I understand. Finally, Lithuanian artists don't use really, for example, augmented reality, but I think like some are quite getting closer to that. I think about, for example, the saga from Silvinas Landsbergas and the Pet Punk Collective, because they decide to animate the painting The Road of Life. So it's not augmented reality, a real augmented reality, but finally these animations augmented the painting too. So
but the film, you know, is done on our heritage, you know, on the old wall painting was done by artists, and it could happen that it can be destroyed or so, and you know, they used some kind of animation just to present this huge artwork, the huge painting on the wall. What was done in I don't remember in which year. It was also in the Soviet time, and so just, you know, that technology was just to help, you know, not only to film and present, you know, very simple, you know, you can do like reportage and to present this artwork. Yeah, they were using these new technologies just to create some other impression about this work. But I mean, it was more like, you know, the technology, the art piece, what they are presented, it's in real life. Yeah, do you understand me? Yeah, so this way, of course, but I agree. Yeah, we can say that we're using really the new technologies and the new way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. To finish this conversation, perhaps could you tell more about Kaunas 2022? That was my question that I would like to ask to you, and we won't interrupt. But if you want to say something about the future in Kaunas.
Yeah, we hope, you know, the situation in the world will be changed and we will be back to the normal life. And the Kaunas is very busy now for the upcoming capital of culture, and there will be many events now, and the main program is, you know, attached to the citizens, to the guests of Kaunas, to the public spaces and so. But there will be also many exhibitions of fairs, and almost all our year program is involved in the Kaunas culture program, many different events. And yeah, the main events, I can just tell, it will be the
surprise. Okay. Well, thank you, Arvydas. Perhaps to end the discussions, I can turn to Guillaumit and Francesca. What is the next step for you, the next project, if you can talk about this? Is it possible? Yeah?
I'm working on a new long feature movie in animation. And so I'm now collecting all the animation and stuff. It will be a 90 minutes movie. So it will be my 4th long feature. And of course, it takes a lot of time because it's all animation and performance art. And I'm also working on a project for Share Festival. And it will be on all on the blockchain, because I'm also experimented with non-fungible tokens and the blockchain right now. And it was sort of a project creating a sort of critical view about this phenomenon of the crypto art. And I'm working on a new performance art series, performance art pieces in series, like a web series for performance art.
Okay, thank you. We talked yesterday a little bit about this crypto art. It was a controversy, so thank you for this. And so Guillaumit?
So it's true, the common point we have together. So I feel that we're very productive and that you're always to do new things when I see all your presentations. So so it's the same for me. I'm going to do a lot of things for the next few months, or in particular things in public spaces, I said earlier on. And for the city of Le Havre in France, we're going to transform the street into a playground of the paintings on the ground. And maybe it's the same thing for Bordeaux. So some interesting large-scale projects for this summer, I hope.
Okay, thank you for this prospective works. So this is the end of this focus on Digital Days number 2. It's lunch break. So bon appétit. And see you later at 2 p.m. Thank you.
Merci.